All right, so today what we're going to look at is Corel Draw. So you should see on your laptop a little green icon, Corel Draw version 8. Double click on that, and what will pop up is this. Since it is the first time that you bring it up, it will look something like this to start out, this create new document. All right. So basically, this is the name of the file, and then you're going to put in basically some dimensions here. So to start out with, we'll just make our dimensions 12 inches by 12 inches. Okay, and hit OK. So this is our work area right here. What we are going to do today is we are going to make our name tag for our computers. So what we are going to do is we're going to click on the text tool and click right here. What I don't want to do, I'm going to Control Z. What I don't want to do is click on this and drag. All right, that makes life not nearly as easy. So I'm going to Control C, remove that, and I am just going to use the text box and click, and I'm going to write in my name. So Mr. Odom. Okay, the reason why we want to do it this way is because it is easy to click and drag now to the right size. All right, how do we know what size this is? Well, if we look up here, this means that if we go to this little arrow tool and we click on it, it tells us that this is 6 inches by about 1 inch. All right. So for our file here, we are not going to be able to make it any bigger than 8 inches by 2 inches. So if you wanted to get all the way up, you could do that, and you could stretch it out a little bit. So you can play around with that a little bit. But step one is to find your name, and then you can double click on it and highlight everything. And you could change the font. Let's say we wanted to make it stencil. So I'm going to make this stencil. I'm also going to make it a little bit smaller because I think that's too big right now. All right. So the max size is 8 by 2, but I would suggest making it a little bit smaller. All right. So now we'll go back to this arrow tool. And what we have is we have this name right here. All right, so in Corel and different Illustrator type programs, there's some things we have to understand. All right, so if we go down here, we can look at these two icons right here. Right now, this little paint bucket here is the fill. All right, so what these letters are black, and they are filled with black paint. All right, but if you look over here to the stroke, which is the outline of it, there is no outline. All right, so what we want to do is we are going to change the fill just so that you know how to do it. So we're going to double click on this, and we are going to change it to green. All right, so I'm going to click OK. And then I'm going to go over here. All right, I'm going to go over here to the stroke, and I'm going to double click. And I am going to make this basically an amount. So for vinyl cutting, it doesn't really matter. It's a good habit to get into hairline, but it's not crucial that we do hairline as long as there is a stroke. All right, so you see Mr. Odom now. All right, if I click on it, see how it is green fill and black outline. So what this will do on the vinyl cutter is the green will mean nothing, but the black will cut out these edges, all right, along these lines. Okay, so that is step number one. Step number two is we are going to bring in an image to this program. All right, so My suggestion is bringing in a silhouette of something that you like. So like your spirit animal or your favorite, something that you identify with. All right. So like for me, I'm going to type in a silhouette of a otter because I like otters. So I look in images. All right. So I'm going to see one that I like. So I see this one. I kind of like this one. So I'm going to right click and I'm going to save image as. All right. So we want to look at this file type. All right. So as soon as you see this WEBP, I would not suggest downloading this file. All right. This is not a nice file type that will allow us to manipulate it well. So we want either a PNG or a JPEG. So I would not try this one. And I would go to a different, maybe I'll do, let's see about this one. All right. So we'll save image as. So see, this is a JPEG. So I'm going to use this. All right. So I see this little otter guy. Now we want to make sure we know where we save it. All right. So I'm going to save it in downloads. I'm going to say otter, and it's going to be in downloads. So I'm going to save, and then I'm going to go back to Corel. If you right click, you can just go directly to import, or you can go to file and import. But basically, we want to go to that location, downloads, and we want to find that picture. So you can go by date, and it should just pop up, and we import it. All right. Now, this file as is right now is a bitmap. All right. We will not be able to cut it out as it is. We need to go to trace bitmap. All right. So as soon as something like this pops up, you are going to be able to trace bitmap. Do not do quick trace. What we want to do is an outline trace. Now, this is where we will get more and more comfortable with this, but you are going to decide what type of thing this is. I'm going to say it's a logo, all right? But you can always play around with this. All right, so for this one, it worked really well. It sees all the extra space, all right, and it's removing it. Let's say we did a different one though. Let's say we look at a detailed logo. This is actually a pretty good image, all right? But if, for example, it's not working very well, or it only is taking away the outside of this image, you can specify color and use this dropper and click on each of these. Now notice if I just click, do you see how it just goes from one to the other? You have to hold down Shift to click on all of this, all right? You can also click on remove color from the entire image, and that also eliminates the rest. So this is what I want, because do you see how this is a piece and this is a piece, and then everything else is going to be removed. So when I press OK and I click on this, notice how the trace bitmap did not come up, all right? It is its own little image right now, all right? So now what I want us to do is we are going to make a rectangle. All right, we are going to make a rectangle of size 8 inches by 2 inches. And if I click OK, what I'm also going to do is, just to get in the practice of it, I'm going to go down here and I'm going to switch it to hairline. All right. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to this hand tool, and I'm going to bring this up around my image. All right, so then I'm going to move this over, and I'm going to move this over. All right, so this is going to be my name tag. Let's look at this a little careful. Uh-oh. Do you see right here? Do you see how there's no fill and no trace? We want to, this is where it can be a little bit confusing. So I'm going to add in, I'm going to double click on that and add in a hairline. All right. And then I'm also, even though it says it's no fill, you actually have to go in and click on this no fill. I don't know why that's the case, but that's something that you need to do. So then we would go in and look at this image. Do you see how, if we cut this out, do you see how this should cut out pretty nicely? You want to look in here and make sure that this image will cut out pretty nicely. All right, we're almost done. Our last step is then we want to save it. All right, so if you save it, you are going to go to Save As. All right, this is going to be super important. And where we want to save as, and we're going to get more and more used to this, we are going to go to Building Share. We are going to go to Student Drive. All right, and then we are going to go to IED 2023. So I did 1.IED 2023. All right, and then you have 3 different periods. You are going to go to your period, and you are going to place your name in here. All right, you should title it your name. So Mr. Odom, you would title it your name, and then you are going to save. When you submit this to Schoology, you are going to go to this. So I'm going to click on this folder, go to Building Share, go to South Student, go to IED, go to Period 1. Where did I save it? Did I save it there or did I save it there? Uh-oh. Did I not click Save? All right, we'll try it one more time. We'll save as. All right, Mr. Odom, Period 1, there. So save. I want to replace. All right, and then we go back here. ID 2020. There it is. All right. So apparently it just didn't save immediately. It took a second. All right, so I can delete this one. All right, so I have this file and I can see it right here. And then what I'm also going to do is I am going to take a snip of this other file. So what I want to do is I want to make it so I can see my name, the image, and then I also want us to be able to tell that they're hairline. So Mr. Odom, you can see the outlines. You can see that it's hairline. I'm going to take a snip of that. Okay, right there. And you are going to submit that to Schoology. Good luck.